Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's Dharma Family Service. For those of you who don't know me, I am Manami Ospa, and for those of you who do know me, I'm back. It's really nice to be home. And my first service back was actually last week, but had plenty people. But now I'm back, real regular family service. So today's service will be conducted by Minister's Lay Assistant, Ms. Linda Nagai. Reverend Blaine is away in Los Angeles serving as guest speaker and conducting seminars. So assisting at the temple with technical support in the Zoom crew is Alan Matsumoto, Joey Guzman, and Lynn Katayama. Corinne Chang is our organist, and Betty Takioka will lead the singing. So please rise and let us start the service with the Ventana and Tisarana. Please chant both the Pali and English parts together with Miss Linda. Those of you on Zoom, be sure you have muted your mics. Please remain standing for an aspiration which will be shared by Miss Linda.
Put our hands together in gasho. One small step. The length of each one stride is a little different, but once a foot is extended, it is everyone's first step. Nobody can take 5 or 10 steps at one time. The one step of here and now should be taken precisely and absolutely for sure, because this one small step taken over and over will lead to Mount Fuji or the Himalayas. The opposite of that is the day spent in a day spent making excuses and complaining. Doing that over and over, the day will soon be gone. Some lives are like that, you know. One step is very important, no matter how small it is. The precise one step of here and now is very important. Mitsuo Aida. Naman. Naman.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Now let us observe a moment of silent meditation. Miss Linda will now lead us in the chanting of the sutra, 12 homages. or English Junirai. Words can be found on the laminated handouts in the back of the pews. Please rise for the Gatha when we see the golden sun on page 173 in the Praises of the Buddha. Again, page 173.
When we see the golden sun shining from above, we are mindful of the Buddha's love. For us all his pure compassion shed its steadfast glow. By his doctrine, wisdom's way to show. When we see the silver moon gleaming in the sky, we remember still our Lord is nigh. By his blessed law to guide us through this earthly night, out of sorrow into joy and light.
You may be seated. Miss Linda will now share a Dharma message.
Let us put our hands together in Gasho. Saved by the Buddha's compassion, how grateful I feel. As for Namu Amida Butsu is ever with me. I am ever with it while asleep, Namu Amida Butsu. While awake, Namu Amida Butsu. While walking or resting, while sitting or lying, Namu Amida Butsu. While working, Namu Amida Butsu. Saichi. Since childhood, I've gone to temple and listened to many sermons without really paying much attention to it, to its content. You know, little kids, we don't listen, we want to play or eat or whatever. But later in life, I would attend not only temple services to listen to sermons, but also attend Dharma workshops and lectures. Now, I'm not sure what impelled me to seek listening to the Dharma. However, visiting the temple now is a new experience. Was it that I was facing certain inner challenges and that I needed to explore religious life? If it was, I wasn't aware of it. Maybe because it was my ego that was in control and I was in denial. Thinking about why I began to listen more intently to the Dharma and on my journey path to Tokudo made me think about the new Rogemon, the Jodo Shinshu Creed that the Gomonshu wrote, which, by the way, I had to memorize in Japanese for my Tokudo ordination, and asked me, do I remember it? No, a little bit. And that's just because we don't say it or we don't use it in Japanese. But somehow I decided to go back this time and read it in English, hoping that I could get a better understanding of what it was saying or what I was saying in Japanese. As I was reading and reflecting on the words, I began thinking about the people we call myokonings. Now, myokonings are rare Shin faithfuls who manifest their faith in their daily lives, in their sayings, and in their reflection. One well myokoning is named Saichi, and the meditation I just read is one of his reflections. You may have heard many ministers speak of him, and although Saichi lived in the late 1800s to 1900s, early 1900s, his word still lives. Although rare, I do believe that there are more myokonings existing today. If you read Reverend Muneto's book, Dharma Treasures, you can call these people myokonings of Kona. If you think deeply, you may think of someone who could be a myokoning, or remember someone who may have been a myokoning, just by what they said, their reflection, their Shin, their what they're faithful of Shin Buddhism. It's just like Saichi. It's simple words. So if you have a chance, read Reverend Moneto's book. These are women from the days of the coffee fields that did this. This morning, I'd like to reflect on the Rogemon along with Saichi. The first part of the Rogemon says, Namo Amida Butsu, entrust yourself to me. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calling voice of Amida. My blind passions are embraced in Amida's awakening. And here's Saichi, 100 years ago. Now, Gomonshu just wrote this, okay? I think it was last year sometime. This is Saichi, 100 years ago. I cannot help from time to time to be bothered with evil thoughts. How shameful indeed, Namo Amida Butsu. No matter how hard I try not to have them, they crowd into my mind in very great numbers. Looking at my evil self, I realize what a deplorable thing it is. I am disgusted with this dear ego. Then the Rogemon continues. So the Buddha calls to me, I will liberate you just as you are. Grateful, responding to the Buddha's call. And I find that I'm already on the path that leads to Pure Land, and the Nonbutsu flows freely from my thankful heart. Saichi states, how shameful, although I am evil, Amida refuses to part with me. I thought the Nembutsu I uttered was my own, but it was not. It was Amida's call. How grateful I am indeed. Namo Amida Butsu. Saichi was so grateful that Amida will never leave his side, he couldn't help but saying, Namo Amida Butsu. Now the second part of the Rogemon states, it is due to the guidance of Shinran Shonin and successive spiritual leaders who have transmitted the teaching to us today. And yes, my knowledge of Amida's wisdom and compassion, what little knowledge I have, came from Shinran Shonin. Without Shinran Shonin, we wouldn't have that. And of course, the succeeding spiritual leaders like the Gomonshu and the Gomonshu before him, who transmitted all of these teachings to us. So even when I'm wrapped up in my daily life, fretting about things that I want or wanted, these teachings will remind me, whether I know it or not, because I'm always in the company of Amida. As Saichi states, Amida never parts with me. And as with Saichi, I too am grateful. Now the last part of the Rogemon, I have to think about, and I said, okay, can't, you gotta make it hard, right? But the last part of the Rogemon says, I feel it's a little bit more difficult, especially because of my ego-centered self. The Rogemon states, living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. grateful for the gift of life I have received, frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Sharing in the joy and sadness of others, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest. I try to live with the Dharma as my guide. However, as I said, with my ego centered self, it doesn't often soften my rigid heart and mind, and I do become lost in greed and anger, which at times doesn't allow me to share a smile or speak gentle words. Although I do share joy and sadness with others, and and in my life, if it may be rough, with many ups and downs and challenges, in the end, I am truly grateful that I am here today and remembering that Amida is never leaving my side. On those days, I must remind myself to strive to live each day to its fullest. Now, taking from Saichi's playbook, knowing that while on this earthly realm, we cannot rid ourselves of our bonno or ego-centered self. I feel that if we can remember Amida, that Amida accepts us as we are, just as we are, and will forever be at our side, calling us through Namo Amida Butsu. We can all live our daily life to its fullest. And if we doubt Amida's compassion, just look to the statue of our Amida in the altar there. You can see Amida is bending slightly forward, and his hand is extended, ready to lift you and welcome you into loving arms. Now let's put our palms together and let's recite three treasures. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Thank you.
Thank you for your message, Auntie Linda. Brennan Gallardo will now lead us in the unison reading of the Golden Chain of Love. Words can be found on the laminated handouts in the back of the pews and on the screen. Please join him in reading the words out loud.
I am a link in the Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect who are all weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only on my happiness or unhappiness, but also that for others. May every link in Amida Buddha's chain of love be bright and strong, and we may all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Brennan. We will now have the offertory presentation. Mahalo everyone for your generosity, which helps sustain our temple. Please stand as we conclude today's service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu. may be seated. This concludes today's service. Here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services and events. Next Sunday, March 24th, regular Dharma service will be held at 10 a.m. Reverend Blaine will be back to share a Dharma message. Sunday, March 31st, we will observe Spring Ohigan service at 10 a.m. Guest speaker will be Reverend Shan Yagi of Lihue Honganji on Kauai. Our temple's Hanamatsuri service will be held on Sunday, April 7th at 10 a.m. Guest speaker will be Reverend Kevin Kuniyuki, retired Honganji Kyodan minister. Regular Dharma services will be held on April 14th, 21st, and 28th. All services will begin at 10 a.m. Reminders, please be sure to read, open, and click on any attachments, as well as useful links that were included in Reverend Blaine's weekly updates email sent this past Friday. Information on applications for BWA scholarships are also included, so please pass the word on to graduating high school seniors who may qualify. Oh, too bad I don't qualify anymore. Free COVID test kits are also available in the conference room. Any other announcements?
On the 29th of March, the BWA is doing an excursion to Hapuna Prince Hotel, the golf course area, the sake brewery. There's a sake brewery there. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, we have a sake brewery there and we're doing an excursion. So if anyone would like to go, we will be, I guess, carpooling. I'm going to see if I can get the van and we'll have transportation to go. BWA members, we'll have lunch. BWA members, we take, it's part of your membership thing. Others, non-members, it'll be $35 and includes lunch. So we're planning on getting lunch and going there and eat at that area. They have a place, I guess, at the brewery that we can eat. So sake tasting, guys, you want to drink sake? And it's a little too early, but they may do show us how they brew it. So that might be happening too. So if you're interested, it will leave here at 11. So please let us know so we can order lunch for you.
And just for those of you who enjoy putting puzzles together, some of the Sangha members decided they would do a puzzle exchange. So if you have puzzles that you've completed and you want a new one, you can bring it and exchange it. So we we dedicated a shelf in this library here. So as you enter from this side, it's on your right-hand side, and you'll see boxes of puzzles that are already there. So those of you who are interested, all on your own, bring puzzles you have already completed, and you can take home puzzles that somebody else has brought that you want to complete. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? Perfect. So those of you who are on Zoom, you may leave at any time. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. Mahalo to Myrna Kunihiro, Betty Takeoka, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. Your attendance today is most sincerely appreciated. Please stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you at future services.